Establishing Israel-Saudi relations may be sacrificed as a result of the new conflict in the Middle East, posing a setback to Biden's aspirations. A potential for historical peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia was discussed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Joe Biden just 3 weeks ago. The Prime Minister anticipated this diplomatic achievement would pave the way to a long-term Israeli-Palestinian peace. During their meeting in New York, Biden expressed positivity to Netanyahu, remarking that a decade ago the idea of normalization with Saudi Arabia seemed absurd. If you and I were to talk about it back then, he added, we might have questioned each other's sobriety. Threatening to delay or derail the US's years-long, country-by-country diplomatic push to improve relations between Israel and its Arab neighbors is the outbreak of war between Israel and the Palestinians. This devastating conflict arose after a Hamas attack on Israeli soil. Branded as the Abraham Accords, the ambitious normalization push started during ex-President Donald Trump's administration serves to reshape the region and elevate Israel's historic standing. However, it has been criticized for neglecting Palestinian statehood aspirations. In part, the Hamas attacks were thought to have been motivated by an attempt to derail the United States' key objective, establishing diplomatic relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Secretary of State Antony Blinken commented on this. Israel and Saudi Arabia, who both view Iran as a rival, have the shared goal of thwarting the common enemy, which provides financial and military support to Hamas. Abandoning their rejection of Israel since 1948 would be made easier for Muslim nations if Jerusalem and Riyadh established a significant deal. Biden, Netanyahu, and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman would etch their names in the history books if they could make it happen. The UAE, Bahrain, and Morocco already normalized relations with Israel under Trump, prompting even more Arab and Muslim-majority nations to consider following suit. The Arab world's reaction to the surprising attack by Hamas has given rise to uncertainties about the feasibility of Palestinian aspirations for sovereignty being sidetracked. These questions revolve around how the US can facilitate Israel's efforts towards enhancing diplomatic ties with other countries in the Middle East, while also addressing Palestine's demands. Turning all Hamas hideouts into rubble is Netanyahu's latest declaration, which has instilled great fear in the region as it signals increased bloodshed and wreckage caused by Israel's military. Biden, in a speech given on Tuesday, denounced this Hamas mission as pure evil. I think this dynamic of normalization will likely slow down or come to a halt, at least for a period of time, said Stephen Cook, a senior fellow for Middle East and Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. According to him, the operation that will take place will be large-scale and expensive in terms of lives lost. It involves air, land, and sea. Officials from America, Israel, and Saudi Arabia were stunned by the attacks, which caught them off guard just when they thought they were making progress towards a potential Israeli-Saudi accord. Last month, Netanyahu expressed his optimism about the potential pact and referred to it as a quantum leap for the region during a CNN interview. Meanwhile, the Saudi Crown Prince acknowledged the steady progress towards the agreement in a statement made to Fox News Channel, stating that each day brings them closer. At a recent event hosted by The Atlantic, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan acknowledged that the Mideast posed continuing challenges. However, in comparison to his predecessors, his involvement in addressing conflict and crisis in the area had significantly decreased. In 2 decades, the Middle East has finally fallen into a quiet spell, stated Sullivan. Vanished in just a matter of days, the once present optimism. In the aftermath of the Hamas attack, social media was flooded with images of people waving Palestinian flags while taking to the streets in countries like Bahrain, Lebanon, Kuwait, and others. Meanwhile, 2 Israelis and 1 Egyptian were killed when an Egyptian police officer in the coastal city of Alexandria opened fire on Israeli tourists. In the wake of the attacks, Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry released a statement which omitted any condemnation of Hamas. Rather, the ministry highlighted its prior admonitions about Israel's systematic provocations, occupation, and deprivation of the Palestinian people's legitimate rights that culminated in these events. The Saudi response received no comment from White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby. Kirby stated his belief in the benefits of normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia for everyone in the region, including Americans. He emphasized their intention to actively promote this process for the well-being of both nations. The Arab Center's Palestine-Israel program lead, Youssef Munayyer, observes that the recent Saudi statement serves as a warning to the Biden administration. The statement emphasizes the importance of prioritizing the Palestine issue, which, if ignored, could ultimately lead to disastrous consequences for the region. Munayyer suggests that this statement highlights the administration's overconfidence in their decision to overlook the issue. The Saudis' message echoes the repeated warnings they have been giving the US, urging them to pay closer attention to Palestine. Members of Netanyahu's far-right coalition have openly opposed the establishment of an autonomous Palestinian state, despite Biden and US officials emphasizing to Netanyahu the importance of significant concessions for the Palestinians in any deal. To establish a resolution for the conflict, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, emphasizes the establishment of a Palestinian state and adds that Israel must concede. The Saudis also share the expectation that Israel will make concessions in order to resolve the conflict. The importance of addressing Palestinian concerns was emphasized by other regional allies as well, indicating the widespread recognition of this issue. Last month at a global summit, King Abdullah II of Jordan discussed the possibility of a normalization agreement between Saudi Arabia and Israel. He acknowledged that Jordan was the second Arab nation to sign such a deal with Israel years ago, but stressed that the new development didn't hold any guarantees for greater stability in the Middle East. That belief, held by some in the area, that by skydiving into Palestine and negotiating with the Arabs before making your way out is not a viable solution, declared the King of Jordan. Furthermore, even nations that have made peace agreements with Israel through the Abraham Accords struggle to publicly act on related matters when Israelis and Palestinians are losing their lives. If we do not resolve this matter, genuine harmony will never be attainable. As an active conflict between Israel and the Palestinians persists, it is unlikely that efforts will bear fruit. However, US officials fully intend to proceed. This week, the State Department declared that senior officials will consult with Blinken during his travels to Israel and Jordan. The effort to form a normalization deal, analysts argue, is something the Saudis have good reason not to abandon. As CEO of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Mark Dubowitz noted that bin Salman's ultimate aim is to bolster the security and diversify the economy of the Kingdom of Oil. This could potentially involve persuading Biden into entering into a nuclear alliance and providing defense assurances to Saudi Arabia in any agreement reached. Dubowitz offered his prediction that normalization is what he believes is required for progress to be made in terms of the discussion at hand. He also expressed concerns about the Crown Prince, warning the Saudis to proceed with caution as they are currently treading dangerously in Washington. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.